Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here. Yeah, welcome, everyone. Thank you for sharing where in the world you're joining us from. It's really wonderful to connect to this global community of creators we have here. And welcome to those of you joining us for the first time. I see some new faces and some old friends, and really good to see all of you. So welcome. And this session is being recorded, and we'll share the recording afterwards with everyone who registered. So you can have that for replay as well. And feel free to share that with your friends who couldn't make it. For those of you who don't know me and who are here for the first time, my name is Natasha, and I'm here with my partner, Lorenz. We are the co-founders of Sutra.co, which is a learning platform designed for group relational learning experiences. We also lead a program on transformational experience design. And our intention with creating and evolving Sutra is to bring more love and connection into the world. At the heart of our work is helping creators bring more meaningful connection into the spaces that they create online. And today we're very excited to welcome George Kao into a conversation with Lorenz to explore different approaches to marketing. We will also have some time for breakouts into small group towards the end of the session. So there's an opportunity for you to share with each other some of the things that you've noticed, your insights, and maybe some best practices. And we'll also have time for questions at the end. I'll do my best to monitor the chat and take some questions there. So we'll keep that open. And Lorenz, I'm going to pass it over to you. Thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you so much, George, for being here.
Thanks, Natasha. And I get to practice an all-new intro. Welcome feedback. Welcome to Sutra Live. This is a participatory podcast series exploring the power and possibility of relational work in the world. And these conversations unpack the philosophy and practice of bringing people together in heart-centered ways that invite humanity, shared understanding, co-creation, and even societal transformation. Today, we are talking about marketing and money with some AI in the mix. And my George's guest Kao. My guest is George Kao, who is known for his work in authentic marketing and conscious entrepreneurship. Before we jump in, we do like to start with a few moments of stillness to really arrive in this space as a group. And it's comfortable for you to do so. I invite you to take a deep breath. Maybe lower your gaze and just sit in a way that's comfortable for you. I invite you to notice the sounds in your space. Notice the sound of your breathing. And begin to follow the sensation of your breath, noticing the shifting fabric on your skin, noticing your rib cage and belly expanding as you breathe in a little more deeply than you might normally do. Noticing the passage of air through your nostrils and your throat. And bringing your awareness internally to your chest region. See if you can tune into your pulse, tune into the beating of your heart as you breathe in and out. And follow your body a little lower, noticing where your body meets your chair, noticing the weight of your physical structure. Now bringing awareness to where your body touches the space around you, where your feet touch the floor, maybe where your arms touch your chair or your desk. And just taking a moment to notice that point of contact. I invite you to check in with yourself internally, any thoughts or emotions that might be present for you, just welcoming everything as you take a moment to just bring everything into awareness. And when you're ready, opening your eyes, welcome to our space here. Thank you so much for joining us. All right, Natasha, I think we're ready. Would you pin George and me on the screen? All right, George, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. And
Thank you. Thank you. It's an honor to be here. Always a pleasure to be with you.
yeah, absolutely. And I'd love to start with just having you share a little bit about what does authentic marketing mean?
Yeah. Well, so marketing is usually thought of as getting the word out about our products and services. And it's about making money and, advertising and things like that. And how many of us here don't naturally rushed and love to do marketing? Raise your hand if that's true, right? Promoting yourself, puffing yourself up publicly or something like that is how we might usually think of marketing. And I've always felt uncomfortable with that, even though I know I need to do it for my business and my clients need to do it for theirs. So over the years, I've just been exploring how can marketing actually be an expression of our soul's calling, you might say? How can it actually help us self-actualize and even self-transcend, instead of all about being this seemingly, it's all about the self-promotion and using various tactics to get people to buy. So what I've come up with, I mean, over the years of experimentation, is that authentic marketing is two things kind of playing simultaneously. You can imagine like a Venn diagram, and on the one side of the Venn diagram, authentic marketing is exploring your peak experiences, your passions, your values, your stories, exploring yourself publicly, because this is marketing, right? I mean, you can explore yourself privately, of course, all you want, journaling, talking to others, prayer, meditation, etc. But when we're talking about marketing, it's about publicly and courageously, which is a practice. All of us are working on that, expressing our soul essentially, or exploring and then expressing that publicly. I call it public journaling. That's on the one hand. That's what authentic marketing is about. And on the other hand, authentic marketing is serving humanity with our message, our words, our presence, without attachment to the results. And that intersection of the two is authentic marketing. Authentic on the one hand, which is exploring ourselves and learning how to express authentically, which is an ongoing unfoldment of our life's journey. And then on the other hand, the marketing side of it is serving humanity with our gifts, our presence, our words, our our expressions, without attachment. Now, of course, with a direction towards this is related to my business, because otherwise we're just expressing ourselves publicly. And that's the hobby side, and that's the authentic side. But then the marketing side is serving humanity, and then increasingly better understanding, this segment of humanity are people I can serve best, are people who are most excited for me to serve them through my business. So let me serve them even better. Again, without attachment, but always with, just like you're here. I think the Sutra community is a wonderful sort of match with this, which is we're serving from our heart, serving with love. So that's a long, short answer to what is authentic marketing.
I don't think I've ever heard you express it that way before, and I really appreciate that, especially like exploring ourselves publicly.
Yes.
There's something about that that's really almost like uncomfortable that it is
Yes.
a public process. It's not just an internal, that there is something in, because it's marketing, but the authentic part of it is really exploring something internal externally.
Yes.
And I guess just to make this explicit, because at the end of the day, we're all heart-centered, but we still need to eat.
Yes.
Where does like the making money part? Because
Of
I know
course.
you shared without
Yeah.
attachment to results, and I really
Yeah.
appreciate that as a philosophical aspiration.
Yes. Yes. It is.
And then the
It's very
practical
idealistic.
reality of it is it's really hard not to be attached to results when you need to pay
Of
rent and pay
course.
bills. Yeah.
Absolutely. I so appreciate your question, and please do ask anything that would be helpful. I'm really here to serve all of you who are here, especially those who are here live. Thank you so much for joining Sutra Live. It's great to see your faces. Some of you can't be on camera, and that's totally fine too, of course. And so please do ask questions below in the live chat. I'd be happy to do my best to answer them. Anything that you're really interested in, and that would be helpful for you. Because here I am serving you here I am on the one hand, practicing exploring my genuine thoughts and feelings and practicing expressing it. And on the other hand, I'm also trying to serve you without attachment, right? But then to your question, Lorenz, where does money come into it? Or how do we actually make money with this? So money, your income, by you, I mean, each of you here, each of us here in this room, your income comes from other people's spending. And it's so simple of a statement, but it's so true. It's like sometimes making money, it's might feel mystical or really challenging or whatever, but it's the simplicity of it is, oh, okay, when someone else decides to spend money with me, I make money. So why would they decide to spend money with me? Well, there's basically 3 reasons why they decide to spend money with you. One, literally alignment. What we are offering them is aligned with what they want, not what they need. This is interesting, right? What we are offering them is aligned with what they want, not what they need. Now, we might deliver something that we believe they need, and that they find out they need, but people spend money on what they want, not what they need. Right? Ideally both, but they make the decision based on what they want. So alignment, with, oh, this thing we sell is what you want. Oh, wonderful. That's wonderful. And then reach. We are able to reach them. They are reading our emails. They are reading our social media posts. Or we, are talking to them face to face or whatever. We're able to reach them. R is reach. And T, they trust us enough to spend money with us. They trust us that what we say this is aligned for them is actually aligned. That they oh yeah, it doesn't. The more they trust us, the more we can merely whisper. The less we need to use persuasion psychology or sales funnels or any kind of goading them to take action. Our calls to action are essentially whispers to alignment, whispers to get involved with us, whispers to partner, whispers to play together, right? So I like saying these because it spells art, A-R-T, the art framework: alignment, reach, trust. And the more we can raise any of these 3 levers, the easier it is to make money. And so when I say how does authentic marketing match with that? Well, authentic marketing the purest form is authentic content marketing. So when you are practicing expressing yourself and practicing your creativity muscles, practicing being a creator, okay, you become more authentically powerful over time, authentically skilled at communicating and expressing truly who you are with courage. And we serve them, authentic service, right? We do it purely, the most pure and love-based way of doing it is through content. You are simply posting on social media or sending newsletters without attachment to the results. And what that does is that builds trust over time, that T, right? That builds more and more trust. Oh my gosh, this person is simply, serving without always trying to sell me something. Okay. Builds trust over time. It also builds reach, because as you share your authentic content on social media, particularly, people will like it, will comment on it, will share it, and that creates more reach because their friends say, who is this? Who's Lorenz? Who's Natasha? Oh, wow, they look really interesting what they're up to. Okay, I didn't know about them, now I do. And then the next 2, 3, 5, 12 times I see them, then I'll start to pay attention to their messages, right? They'll have my attention now, right? So the reach happens through the, and then the alignment. It's like once you have an audience who trusts you, you can now talk to them. You can poll them, but you can also talk to the poll, meaning do surveys, but you can also talk to them saying, hey, I'm thinking about offering this particular healing service. I'm thinking about offering this particular transformational workshop, and there are 3 topics that I could do. Which of these 3 topics? Or we talk to them, if you're saying, hey, would anybody be interested in talking with me? I have some questions that help me to learn more about you as a representative of my audience. Would you be interested? Let's get on the phone on the Zoom for 30 minutes, 15 minutes. I have some questions. You don't have to prepare anything, just speak from the heart. And then in 15 minutes, you can ask me anything. Pick my brain. I can, help you, give you resources in some way. So that kind of market research conversation helps you with alignment to say, oh, well, what kind of questions should you ask them? So I do transformational workshops to help leaders become more embodied in their leadership. And have you ever purchased anything like this? Oh, you bought a book about that embodied leadership. Oh, who's the author? Oh, what was the topic? Why did you buy it? Oh, you went to a retreat about this. Oh, interesting. What was the topic? So you're learning about their spending habits, because remember, our income is other people's spending. And so if we learn about their spending habits, I think of it as, imagine this river, this river, fast flowing river of spending, of energy, really. But that's the economy, and that's our market, right? It's like this fast flowing river. They're always spending money on things. Everyone around you is always spending money on things. And what we want to find out is, where can I position myself near the river to put my ladle in there to get some of that energy, get some of that water, get some of that money, right? Income. And so that alignment is, where can I position myself? And so back to this question, Lorenz, is how do I make money with authentic marketing? Well, authentic marketing builds you trust and reach over time, which then allows you to work on alignment. And the alignment then allows you to make plenty of money, because the more aligned your offers are, this workshop, what do you all think? This course, what do you all think? This book, this service, this coaching package, whatever, the more aligned it is with the people you're talking to, the more you can just whisper. And I really have found this over time. I wish I could tell everybody in the world this, which is why I try to spread this message. What I've seen over the years is so many of my peers, friends, colleagues, myself, my old self also, we just keep pushing. Oh, gotta sell this. And we push our audience too hard, usually. Those of us who are good at marketing, particularly, we tend to push our audience too hard, too many calls to action, too much. The feeling there is like, oh, they want something from me. They're always wanting something from me. They always, yeah, sure, they want me to join this thing or buy this thing. And that pushing makes us have to push for the rest of our lives. I did that for the first 5 years. I pushed hard. I made some money, of course, but I'm like, is this going to have to be like this for the rest of my life? I don't want to do this. And then so that was my first 5 years in business, 2009 to 2014. And then ever since 2015, I started experimenting with authentic marketing. And from 2015 and onward to now it's 8 years later of authentic marketing, it's only gotten easier. That's what I want. I'm here to report from the future of your authentic marketing. It will get easier because people trust you more. They share your stuff. And now I just had a very successful course launch. I sent one email, and it was my most successful course launch to date for the last 2 years. One email, because it was very aligned with what they want. So one email, and it was, I think I may have made two social media posts, but no one's ever heard of that. People are like, what? Launches should be 28 emails. Here's the sequence, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely resonate with what you shared about the trust building part, because now we've been doing Sutra for the last 7 years, and I don't know how many hundreds of emails I've sent out and how many hundreds of workshops, but I do feel that there is a certain maturation in the way that people in our community see us. There's a certain trust from that consistency from just everything we've put out there. I'm curious.
And I'll say, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just want to say, as an evidence of this, I do these kinds of calls with certain partners. A recent call I did with another partner, I'm pretty sure their audience just is like probably 5 times the size of Sutra's audience, 5 to maybe even 10 times Sutra's audience. And yet there are twice as many people on this call right now than the one I did with the previous partner. Because that other partner pushes. It's just a lot of that. And even though they have a large email list or audience, the actual engagement is far lower than they could have. So I just wanted to share that as evidence. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And I'm curious to unpack a little more on the reality of your own list building process. I mean, I know you shared that there was a difference between the first 5 years and then the last 7, 8 years. I'm curious about, I'll back up a little and say, in my experience, the size of your list, whether it's your email list or your social audience, is very directly correlated to your ability to generate income and revenue. And I'm curious how you think about how your understanding of list building has evolved over the last few years, and how you think about that. Do you proactively grow your list? Do you just let it come to you? Like, what's your relationship to quote unquote list building?
Yeah, I really appreciate these great questions, and please feel free to ask more other questions, folks who are live here.
Yeah, please throw in the chat if you guys want to hear George riff on anything. Please throw your reflections and questions in the chat.
And riff is the correct word for sure. And that's what I do. So let me riff on this list building thing, because my list is probably smaller than most of my peers. Just transparently, my email list is about 5,000 people. It's getting close to 6,000. So 5,000 people. And yet, because I talk to my colleagues and we share numbers and things like that, I am always surprised at how much more revenue I'm bringing in my business, and profit as well. But suffice it to say, I live a very comfortable life, definitely 6 figures, but whatever. If numbers mean anything to you guys, and if that's impressive or whatever, or at least grounding or whatever, at least 6 figures. So it's like a 5,000 person list earning 6 figures.
That is impressive.
With sending sales email, how many emails do I send to sell stuff every month? 1 to 2. 1 or 2 emails per month to my list to sell something. Now, I also have a monthly newsletter that is, I just sent it out like yesterday, in fact, that is my best 3 posts of the month. So I start with that. You can see it, by the way, if you want to go to georgekao.com/monthly, you can see the last 3 editions, and you can see literally how I do it. I 3, my best posts of the past month, and then a very gentle, like usually just 1 little paragraph, like, oh, this is what I'm selling right now. That's it. That's what I mean by whispering. It's like people look for it, people click on it. And my open rate, get this. This is also, again, not to brag, but it's grounding. It's like 5,000 person getting to, I think 5,500 at this point, 5,000 person email list with a 50+% open rate every email.
That's good.
which is almost unheard of because my industry, marketing, the averages are about 20 to 25% open rate.
Mhm.
And usually the lists are, well, they range all over the place, but usually lists are bigger than that. But like usually people go, oh, George, I have a 60% open rate on my email list. And then I said, oh, how many people do you have on your email list? 100. Okay, that's great. Wonderful. Great start. But as you get into the thousands, usually it drops down to 30% open rate, 20%. I'm at 50 to 55% open rate for every email at a 5,000 per 5,500. So what I'm saying is it's working. Okay, so that's what I mean. And the click rate's around 4 to 7 to 8%, which is also way above industry average. So how do I build lists? This is how I do it. Two ways. Okay. One way is I have a newsletter tab at the top of my website. And when people come to my website, they'll see the newsletter tab and they can decide to join or not. I don't have a pop-up. I know pop-ups build a list faster, meaning when you when you go to a web page, you see a interruption box that says, hey, join our wonderful list or whatever. And there's wonderful ways to do it. People can write very clever, very pleasing words or even a little video before they opt in or whatever. Okay, that's great. And it does build more email lists faster. But my problem with that is the open rate's lower. There's less trust when people just, whatever. Okay, I'll put my email. And it's not a conscious decision. Whereas I make people and when you go to my page, go to my website, georgecow.com. Do you see an opt-in box anywhere? No, you can't. You scroll all over the place. There's no opt-in box. You can't join my list unless you physically click on the newsletter button and decide I'm going to join you. And I don't even just ask for email address, right? Most email list builders are like, oh, just email address, because we don't want to make it as easy as possible for them. In fact, even do Facebook ads for lead generation where they don't even have to fill anything in. They just click submit, right? All those metrics, all those methods that people teach you, all that stuff, I don't think they think deeply enough. They don't look at the long term and go, oh, there's very little trust there, even though there's maybe a bigger reach, but little trust. And over time, it's a little frustrating, because you pay more money when you have a bigger list too, right? You pay the service provider. Anyway, so you have to physically click on newsletter. You have to not only fill out your email, you have to fill out your name, what country you're at. I don't know, at least your name and how you heard about me. That's required. I don't let you sign up unless you tell me how you heard of me, because that's how I do my affiliate program and stuff as well. Anyway, so that's one way I build my list, is just let people, I put out as the best content I possibly can on social media. People go, who is this? And when I say best content, let me be clear. It's usually just words. I have two types of content that I put out there. One is just words on Facebook, for example. Go to my Facebook business page, not my personal profile, but my business page, facebook.com/GeorgeCow-community, and scroll through. And some of the best performing posts are just words, not an image words, no images, no links, just words where you have to read and click read more. And there's a bunch of words. And those are my best performing posts. Okay. Number two, I make videos. My videos are not edited. I'm too lazy to edit videos. I can't stand it. Sure, there's Descript and wonderful, fun video editing, and AI is going to bring us even better. But I just show up. I go on Zoom with myself. I record, and then I upload. I do Facebook Live through Zoom, but then I upload to YouTube, etc. So I just talk. Now I know some of you are like, oh, I don't want to be on camera. I'm scared, or I don't have the speaking presence that you do. You should hear my story. I judged my own speaking presence for most of my life. I was even talking for the first couple of years of my business. I said, oh, video? You got to be kidding me. Video is not the future. That's because I didn't want to be on video myself. So I said, oh, video, that's just a hype. I talked about this in 2009 to 2013. And then my friend Tad Hargrave, whom you've also had on Sutra Live.
Yeah, just a couple months ago.
Gently goaded me, George, can you do a webinar video call for my clients or whatever, and for my audience? And he just gently brought me onto video, and people seemed to be okay with it. So I started practicing, even though I didn't like how I looked, I didn't like how I sounded. I had a lot of judgments of myself in the early days. I was stumbling, blah, blah, blah. But eventually I just kept practicing. And the more you practice and be kind to yourself, and do it in front of loving people at first. Of course, you don't want to do it in front of random people. Do it in front of loving people, like your fellow Sutra colleagues, the friends you meet here. Do it in front of loving people, and you get encouragement, and then you blossom, you come alive. Anyway, so I make good content. People come to my site, they click on newsletter, they join. That's one way. The second way I build my list is illegal. And I'll tell it to you. Here's how I build my list. When people buy from me, I automatically add them to my list. And I playfully say it's illegal because in Europe, it's illegal to do that. As far as I know, GDPR, right? You're not supposed to add people to your email list.
Yeah.
Even if they buy something from you, is that still true?
I'm honestly not 100% sure, but I get the gist of it. You have to make it very clear with them that when they're purchasing, they're supposed to opt in to also receive communication.
I'm a well-known criminal in Europe for GDPR. I think GDPR is ridiculous. I think it hurts small businesses. I've been a rebel against GDPR since day one. I'm like, no, this is meant for bigger companies like Facebook and other companies that may abuse, yes, privacy data. But us small businesses, what are we doing? I mean, especially authentic, heart-based small, we're not like, God, this cookie pop up and, oh my God, are you sure you want to join my list? Like, really? Like, if
it's
they
pretty
don't
much
want to
ruined
join,
the internet.
GDPR
has pretty much ruined the internet.
It's ridiculous. And people are just like cookie, whatever. They either reject it, which then now we can't advertise to them on Facebook or Instagram or anywhere else, which is ridiculous, or they accept because they don't care. Like, what is this cookie stuff? Go ahead. I want to look at the website. Nobody reads that stuff. Nobody really understands how damaging privacy policies are for small businesses in terms of being able to run ads to your email list or to your, anyway, I can go on this all day long. Long story short, I'm a criminal. If you want to join me to be an outlaw, you can. When people buy from you, your clients, your customers, I don't just add random people. Okay. Obviously, I'm authentic in how I add people. I add people like, if you spent money with me, you probably want to receive my monthly best 3 pieces of content. Would you mind? No one has ever since I've been outlawed as a GDPR, and literally no one has ever reported me. And no one has ever even complained that I can't believe I'm receiving your best content once a month after I bought from you, right? Or even, now this is a bit of a gray area, if they joined a free webinar, okay? If they join a free event from you, are you allowed to send them ongoing newsletter emails? That's a gray area. I think it's okay if it's a once a month best content email. I think the problem that a lot of people have is they do, webinar funnels where it's like you see a Facebook ad, oh, learn how to save the world and become a billionaire at the same time in 30 minutes or less. And then you join this webinar for free. And of course, they're selling you everything. And then now you start getting emails from them like all the time. That's uncool. That's not authentic. I don't do that. But if you do an authentic webinar or authentic event, transformational event through Sutra, for example, or using the Sutra platform or whatever, if you do an authentic event, heart-led event, I think it's perfectly ethical to add them to your once a month email list where you share your best content, not by selling to them, by serving them without attachment. And yes, having a sales message at the bottom of the list, sure, you can do that, which is what I do. So that's what I mean when I playfully say I'm a criminal and I build my list illegally. But it's really, I think it's ethical, but not legal in Europe. It's legal in America, I should say. Okay, so
you threw something in there. I just want to circle back to something you said maybe 10 minutes ago about when people opt in. You asked them how they heard about you, and then you mentioned just in passing that you factor that into your affiliate outreach. So can you share a little bit about that part of it?
Absolutely. So yes, that is I'm so grateful. I have an affiliate community of about 300 people, and my affiliate program is very simple. Well, okay, most people join my affiliate program because they want to save money on my courses. Because when you join my affiliate program, you get 25% back. Whenever you spend money on my courses, you get 25% back the first day of the next month, and you get profit sharing. So not only do I send you 25% back, I also send you additional profit sharing from the rest of my business, the rest of my course sales that month, split among all the recent all the active affiliates. You're an active affiliate if you either buy something in the last 3 months or if you sold something in the last 3 months. Most people are just buying it and getting the money back. So that's why I have a 300-person affiliate program. And my affiliates, it's so, I want to encourage all of you to do this. Okay. Well, all of you who, if you can create an affiliate program and just basically at a certain part of your business, this is not great for one-on-one services because it takes your time. It's less appropriate for affiliate marketing. But if you sell courses or events where it's like, it doesn't matter if one person joins or 42 people or 420 people join, they can, so then you create a program where they can buy and then get the money back and you share some profit with them. People are just so grateful for that. And I don't mind. I basically pay out 40% of my course revenue to my affiliates. I have one of the favorite things I do every month. So to your question, Lorenz, because I have such a heart-based and such a loving relationship with my affiliates, they tend to share about my courses as well. They're not required to, but they tend to do it out of an abundance of enjoyment and gratitude. So anyway,
do you use a platform for that to manage the affiliate payouts?
I use Simplero, sort of my all-in-one platform, my website, course delivery, affiliate, but it doesn't matter. You can keep it real simple, and what any affiliate software can give your affiliate links. So it doesn't matter which one you use, in my opinion. Yeah.
Amazing. So we promised people to talk about AI, and I'm so curious what you have to say about how AI can, how first of all, how it supports your work.
Yeah, totally. Okay. So I'm curious, those of you who are here live, how do you feel about AI? You can put that in the it's very controversial because some people are fully embracing it, like myself, and others think it's evil alien technology or something like that. Right? Like we've got the whole spectrum here. I don't know about here, but there's a whole, I have friends and family members who are among the entire spectrum. So I understand. And some people just don't even know about it or don't even pay attention to it. So there's like that third circle. And so basically it is going to be so embedded in society in the next few years that you probably won't even, already you're using AI, you just don't even know it. When you go on most social media, it already uses AI to some degree, and it's going to be using even more. And I just heard from one of my friends, she just wrote me an email message composed entirely by AI through Gmail. Gmail is now introducing AI messages. I haven't gotten it. I said, well, how come I don't have, but they always roll out features gradually. But yeah, soon Google Docs, Gmail, Microsoft Word, everything will have AI embedded, so that it's not even, in 5 years, 10 years, it's not even going to be like, what, you have to use AI. It's just going to be part of everything it's an option for everything we do. But currently I'm already getting on top of it because I know that it's going to be either very detrimental to a lot of us, solopreneurs, small business owners. It's either going to be very detrimental or very liberating. It's really going to be that kind of a choice, because if you don't learn to use AI to add more value in your business, to add more value to your audience, it's quite likely that your audience is going to start paying attention to the people who are using AI. So the way I say it, well, the way you may have heard it said is AI is not going to replace humans. AI will not replace human workers, but human workers who use AI will replace human workers who don't. This is being seen, whether it's writers, graphic designers, artists, musicians. Did you know that you can create amazing songs with AI now, with just by typing in, I want Drake to sing this in Drake's voice with Drake's rhythms? Boom, a few seconds, new Drake song. And it's
so
like,
how
really?
are you using it to add value right now? Like, give me some specific examples.
Okay, so I use AI generally to reason things out. Like whenever I get stuck in my business, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling so stuck here. I feel like I can't add value in this way, or I feel stuck on how to work on this project. My first besides my own head. Of course, I think about things and I write things down, but this George GPT is far slower than ChatGPT. ChatGPT, if I'm stuck on a problem, like whether it's mental stuckness, like how do I solve this issue? How do I work on this project, to emotional stuckness? I'm feeling really a lot of self-doubt with putting this thing out there. Whatever it is, I go to ChatGPT and I say it. And I say, here's the situation. Here's where I'm stuck. Enter, boom, within seconds, an answer comes through that is thoughtful, emotionally connected. Ironically speaking, it's AI, it doesn't have emotions, but whatever. It's resonant, and it's a better answer than most of my friends and coaches can give me. So
Wow.
so not only am I doing this, so many other people are doing this. And I'm like, well, what are therapists and coaches and counselors and mentors going to do in the future, and teachers? What does that mean for us? It means we all need to up-level up. We need to up-level our ability to add value. We need to create more content so that we can, within 6 to 12 months, you will be able to easily train a chatbot that's trained on all of your content, all of your voice, your way of typing, your way of writing or speaking, and your audience or your clients. And you can give chatbots different levels. Like, oh, this you pay this much to get a chatbot for all my courses, or you do it for free for all my blog posts or whatever. And they'll be able to just talk all day, or anytime, 24/7 with your chatbot. And by the way, just yesterday, Seth Godin already announced his chatbot. Seth Godin is the famous marketer. Like if you were to say, who is the godfather of modern marketing? Oh, Seth Godin, right? And so let me give you the link. Actually, let me give you the link to Seth Godin's bot, because he just released it publicly yesterday. And let me give you the link. In fact, I'll give you a link to his announcement, which has which then you can click through to the bot itself. But you might be interested in participating in the conversation there with other Seth Godin fans. So I just put the link below. And so I already have a chatbot for my students as well. I did it before Seth Godin did, because I got early into the technology. And so how am I using it? Like I said, generally speaking, any stuck point mentally or emotionally, ChatGPT is fast and it's private. We'll talk about if you're interested, but it's also less embarrassing for me to reveal all these things to a chatbot than to talk to a friend, colleague, coach, my spouse, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, number one. Number two, I use it for my blogging, for my writing. Okay, so I will first do the writing, because this is the mistake that most people think. Oh, AI, it doesn't sound like your voice. You're not using AI correctly. You're not supposed to say, AI, please write me an article about this specific thing, and then copy and paste. The people who are doing it, in my opinion, are not doing it correctly. It doesn't sound human. I'm sorry, it sounds human. It doesn't sound like you, though. So that's not how we use AI. No, here's how we do it. We first write ourselves, okay? This is the blog writing process, right? Now with AI. You first go, I want to write about this. And if you're stuck even there, if you're even stuck, I don't know what to write about, then you can go to ChatGPT and say, here is the people I want to reach. I want to reach these types of people. And I generally I work in this area. Give me 10 topics I could write about. Boom. It'll give you 10 topics based on what these people want. Yeah, your ideal audience, and based on your ideal audience overlapped with what the work you do, it'll give you 10 topics. And then if you want another 10, it'll take you 5 more seconds. Please give me another 10. It's 5 seconds later, another 10. Please give me another. You can keep going forever, right? So even if you're stuck with the ideas, you can use AI to unblock you, to say, oh yeah, those are some interesting ideas. You don't have to use them, but what it gives you, you can either go, that's interesting, or I like that, but that's a little too mainstream. I'm going to do it my own way, right? And then you start writing, you start drafting. Okay, this idea, and wherever you get stuck in drafting, go back to ChatGPT, you give it what you have thus far and go, okay, I'm stuck here. What else might I say about this topic? Even if you only wrote 3 sentences, and you give it your ideal audience. Okay, my ideal reader is probably someone like this. And here's what I've written thus far. I'm stuck. Where else could I go after this? And this is what I always say. please do not write it for me, but give me some ideas that I can write myself. Because I don't want it to bias me, because I don't want to be tempted to copy paste. It doesn't sound like George Cow. So then I'm stuck. I said, please give me some more ideas. This is the audience. And it gives me a bunch more ideas. I'm like, oh yeah. Okay, these are 10 ideas. I like idea number 3 and idea number 7. So then I go back and write myself. And after my draft is done, I go back to ChatGPT, and I say, all right, here's my ideal audience. Here's my draft. Can you see like 3 ways I can improve on this draft? Again, do not write it for me. Just give me 3 ways to improve. And it'll say, okay, maybe you should give one example about this point. And then these 2 paragraphs don't connect so well. So maybe you could give an idea to connect these 2 paragraphs. It's basically your writing coach, my writing coach.
So
yeah.
ChatGPT will give you advice about maybe the 2 paragraphs not working, or you'll give ChatGPT that advice.
No. These are what ChatGPT is giving to me. It's critiquing my stuff.
So you'll give it like an essay, and it will give you
any
feedback
part
on
of it. Even if I've written 2 sentences, it'll riff off of it, knowing my audience and knowing kind of generally the direction I'm going. So again, bottom line, people who are telling you, oh, AI doesn't sound like you, they don't know what they're talking about. They haven't used it. And I've taught a whole course about ChatGPT and how to use this stuff. So I use it as a sparring partner is really the best way of thinking about it. It's an instant writing coach, instant sparring partner, instant. Guess what? Here's another way I use AI. By the way, to get to ChatGPT, there's 2 ways. Okay. And both are free. Okay. It's free for everyone on the planet, which is really amazing. It's democratizing learning and tutoring and coaching. Okay. So there's 2 ways of getting there. One is AI.com. AI.com. They spent.
Oh, I didn't know that. They actually AI.com takes. Okay.
They spent $11 million buying that domain name. Now,
no way.
Here's what's important. Do not. This is ridiculous. They spent $11 million to buy this domain, and they forgot. They still haven't put www in there. So if you put www.ai.com, it doesn't work. So just do without www. Just type in AI.com, and it'll bring you to ChatGPT. Okay, and it's free, like I said. Number 2, the second way of getting there is Poe, P-O-E, like Edgar Allan Poe. POE.com will also bring you to ChatGPT, but not only ChatGPT, Poe gives you multiple chatbots that are well rated. So you can use ChatGPT, you can use Claude, which is another popular chatbot. You could use several other ones to test it out, and not to test it, to actually use it. So Poe.com is also wonderful. You have to sign up an account at Poe.com. And same thing with AI.com. So I was going to say, not only does it help me with my writing and content creation and ideas and reasoning and getting unstuck on anything. Number 2, it serves as my market research. So I create what I call client GPT. And here's how I do it. I go to ChatGPT and I type in, all right, I'm serve this type of person. I don't know much about them, but basically tell it whatever you know and say, hey, ChatGPT, can you help me create a client avatar? I'm just going to give you what I know, and you could tell me more. And so, I want to serve, stay-at-home moms who are more holistic and more likely to desire transformational online experiences or whatever. Okay, tell me about their demographics and their psychographics. Those are 2 fancy words you can use. Okay, tell me about the demographics and stuff. Oh, okay, so you're talking to let's name them Jennifer. And there's within this age range, they have these particular problems. They have these mindsets, these values. And then you can talk to it. Say, thank you, ChatGPT. Now, can you pretend to be Jennifer and let me ask you questions? Sure. Hi, I'm Jennifer. I'm a stay-at-home mom and you ask the questions. Jennifer, I sell online courses about XYZ. Can you tell me your internal dialogue that might might help me better market to you this online course or this healing service or whatever? Sure, I have doubts about this, or I'm really feeling down about that. And how is it doing this? Because it has all of the internet's information and all of the internet's blog posts, forum posts that are public. It has all the internet's dialogue that's public, and it's pulling from all of that to give you what's likely. Now, it's not like somehow scientifically researched, but it is probably 60 to 80% accurate. It's good enough and it's free. Now, to be clear, I actually like ChatGPT so much, I use it so often that I pay now I pay for it. There's a paid version which is even more advanced. And it's a more advanced reasoning engine called ChatGPT 4. By the time some of you are watching this, we're like at 5 or 6, whatever. But when you pay for it, you get the more advanced version that's a little bit better reasoning, more creative, and you also guarantee that you have access to it all the time, because sometimes ChatGPT is down because the whole planet's trying to use it. So the free users sometimes have to wait in line, and the paid users, it's at this time is $20 a month. So I think it's worth it. $20 a month for a coach, tutor, therapist, market research advisor, marketing advisor. This is why I'm scared for my own job. Because why do you need me when you can use ChatGPT to give you the most detailed marketing plans and to help you with all your content and to help you through unstuckness? So this is why I'm like, coaches, creators, teachers, mentors, we have got to get on this or we will be replaced in short order. So
I appreciate your and I feel like you just shared a wealth of information there around creative ways to use ChatGPT. And I'll make a dirty confession, because leading up to this, I knew we were going to talk about AI and ChatGPT, and so I actually had ChatGPT write up my the email promo that I did for this, and a lot of the write up and your bio. It actually created a better bio for you than I found anywhere online.
And do you know why I know that?
Why
because I know ChatGPT's voice so well now. I'm like, oh, Lorenz, this is clever. And I purposely, at number one. Number two is there were some factual errors in my bio.
Okay, this is good. See,
right? No, this is important. Now, the reason, Lorenz, you're like, George, why did you email me about this before I put this out there? Because I'm like, no, this would be a funny little case study to talk about during the thing, right? So this is important for all of you to know. ChatGPT is not currently connected to the internet. Now, by the time some of you are watching this, it will be, because ChatGPT with internet connection is coming within the next 2 months or so. It's there already. Some people already have it, and it's amazing. Like, oh my God, now I can use ChatGPT and it's connected to the internet. But right now, it's not connected. So what do you mean, George? I thought you said it has all the internet's information. Up until early 2021, spring, fall of 2021, it has all that data, but it doesn't have it. And so when it doesn't know something or someone like George Cal super well, it'll make shit up. Sorry for the language. It makes stuff up, and it sounds really convincing.
It sounded really good.
It sounded better than what
actually. It's funny about your bio. I didn't even question it. It's funny. It didn't even occur to me. I was just like, oh, the bio must be legit. I didn't. I should have, but I didn't.
It doesn't tell you which parts it's making up. So this is important. I'm glad we had the chance to say this. Do not use ChatGPT for factual research. You only use ChatGPT for things that you can either easily verify yourself, because you're like, oh, that doesn't make sense, or that does make sense. Or if you want to double check, then use Google search or Bing chat. Bing chat is also another AI. Microsoft Bing now has AI chat for everyone that uses GPT technology. So if you use Bing chat, here's a tip. Bing chat is free. There's no paid version. So if you use Bing chat, use the creative mode. You'll notice there are there are 3 modes when you use Bing chat. There's balanced, which is the default mode, which kind of sucks, to be honest with you. It's not very good. And then there's the creative mode, which is the one I use all the time, which is much better. And then there's the precise mode, which is shorter answers. It's okay. But the creative mode uses ChatGPT technology. And so it's like using ChatGPT for free. And not only that, but supposedly it uses ChatGPT 4. But I have doubts about that. Anyway, it's still very, very good. And it searches the internet. Basically, Bing chat and Google is, of course, scrambling so hard to catch up. Google is going to integrate this soon. Bing, basically, whatever you ask it, it'll search the internet for you, and it'll summarize what it finds. So you don't have to read through links anymore. It's like in the next few months, people will be like, or in 3 years from now, people are like, what? When you used to search the web, did you know you had to read links? You had to go to a link to see if you found the right information? It's going to seem so outdated, but now it's hard. So long story short, Perez, yes, you can use it for all of your guests. Just make sure you pass it to them and say, George, is this correct? And I'll say, no, I didn't write those 2
Noted.
books.
Noted. Oh my God, that's good to know. I just assumed that it was right. So Scott, this is a good like concluding question for us here. Scott on the chat posted, how would AI reason with a user seeking authenticity?
Ooh, I love that. Yeah, thank you for asking. How would AI reason with user seeking on that? So what do you mean by authenticity? So
Well, I
that's
think it's like, what's the intersection of AI and authenticity? I think you kind of
yeah,
answered this in some ways in like a sparring
yes,
partner, but maybe some
yes.
more words about that.
Okay. So again, where AI is not authentic is when people rely on it too much as their own expression and they don't say it's from them. Okay, so sorry, they don't say it's from ChatGPT. So for example, if I'm being playful and I'll say, hey, actually, so let's actually play a little bit if that's okay. Can I share my
Great.
screen? I'll play a little
Yeah,
bit
go
here.
for it. Let's do
Okay.
it.
So Lorenz, tell me something about yourself. Lorenz. Okay, tell me what's one favorite activity that you love to do? What's one hobby?
Walking my dog.
Mm. He is a transformational workshop leader and CEO of a tech company. Tell me 3 of your values.
Integrity, authenticity, and compassion.
Yeah, okay, that's good. Include authenticity and authenticity.
And
Now,
compassion.
who
Okay.
is one of your yeah, okay, and consciousness. Great.
Sure.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that works.
Please write a poem about Lorenz.
The ChatGPT poems are great.
Yeah. So this is fun to play with, right? Like in the world of constant change and mud, Lorenz walked with grace, pure devotion, with his dog at his side, companion so dear. I should have put Natasha in there too. Bond broken, a love so clear, a leader of hearts, visionary minds. He weaves transformation with threads so fine. In workshops he guides, empowering the meek, igniting the passion of a world to seek. A CEO of a tech realm vast, he navigates challenges, undeterred by the past. Through valleys of growth, mountains of strife, he forges ahead, crafting a meaningful life. Integrity is a compass, etc., etc., etc. So let us raise our voice in a chorus so grand to honor Lorenz, a leader of this land,
Oh
for
my
his
God.
footsteps. In his footsteps, we shall find our way to a world transformed, a brighter day. Now, these things are fun, and you could say, please do that as a rap, or whatever. You could do it. Yo, listen up. Let me tell you about Lorenz, a man who's walking his dog, a friendship that transcends, transformational leader, got his CEO stance in the tech world. He's got the game on enhance, right? So, etc. You could say,
That's pretty good. The game on enhance. I like that line. The game on enhance.
right?
Like one of my hobbies is actually freestyle spoken word. I
Oh
think
my
of
gosh.
everything here that came out. That's my favorite line. The game on enhance. That's a good one.
Yeah. Oh, and it gets pretty clever. It can get really, really clever. So basically, if I were to copy paste this thing to social media, and it's a fun thing. It's a fun kind of content. You copy paste it and you say, "Here's a fun poem from ChatGPT about me and my work," or whatever like that. And so, the authenticity is, like I said, when transparency. It's also there's a heart-centered nature to it, and so the transparency is there. Like I said, I never use ChatGPT stuff without either heavily editing it for my voice, or I just don't use it for the actual writing. I use it for idea generation. I use it for like getting me unstuck about ideas and brainstorming and critiquing my writing. Okay. I'm still authentic. It's still my voice. It's kind of like, is it inauthentic if you use a writing tutor? Is it
Right.
inauthentic if you have a book editor? Is that no? It's not inauthentic, right? But the second way, in terms of authenticity, is how do we learn more about ourselves so that we can express more of who we really are? And ChatGPT helps me do that by essentially being a therapist. And it's like I'm having this interest, but I don't know how to quite put it into a project. I don't know how to quite express this in the world when I have these fears and I have these pressures. And by having that dialogue, ChatGPT gives me a way through to say, well, given that these are your values and given that this is your personality, given that this is your desires and how you want to see, this is the kind of beautiful world you want to see. Think about it this way. Go think about it. And so Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, and I know there's some people expressed reservations about the threat to humanity, and
Yes. Yes.
I think it's pretty much impossible to have a meaningful conversation about that, like in the context that we're having here. So I just want to acknowledge that, but also just share that this is my personal view, wherever AI is going, it's here and it's not going away. The AI is here. It's like if in 1992 you would have said the internet is going to destroy society, the internet is
or that
here.
the internet, or that, oh, I'm not going to use the internet because it's inauthentic. Right.
Right. AI is here, and I think we all have to basically pray that that we don't end up Terminator side. There is an incredible short story by Isaac Asimov called The Last Question. Have you read it, George?
Oh, I haven't. I will
No. Oh,
definitely check
it's
it out.
amazing. It's 20-minute read. I encourage anyone here to Google it. The Last Question by Isaac Asimov. He wrote it in 1956. In my
Nice.
mind, that is it basically covers 1,000,000,000,000 years of evolution, literally 1,000,000,000,000
Wow.
years of human evolution, and that's the best case Chat GPT scenario. That story is about Chat GPT, but I'm going to
Oh
leave it
my
at
gosh.
that. I want to make sure we have some
Can,
time for it.
yeah, I want to say one thing about sort of AI destruction of humanity, et cetera, the potential. So here's the thing. Nobody here that I can tell, maybe none of us here work in the AI field, right? Like we're not working at OpenAI or Anthropic or anywhere else, and none of us here are politicians. I don't know, maybe there is, and I'm honored, if AI person or politician is here, that's amazing. So we regular people, first of all, have very little to almost no control over that big direction of where it's going. But number two, we actually do have influence, and here's how we influence it. The more individuals use AI to talk about things of a higher level, of a more beautiful world, it trains the AI to go more in that direction. This is important because, and this is not just a theory. Literally, OpenAI, the ChatGPT people, allows you to opt out of taking your inputs for their training data. Now they're trying to do their very best to anonymize everything. It's not like they're going to connect it. George Cal said this, and hello everyone, George Cal said this. No, it's all anonymized, but it takes all of your ideas and it feeds it back into the AI training data so that AI's trained more in that direction. So my question to you is, do you want AI to be taken over by people who use it for, okay, let's be honest, a lot of teenage boys and others are using it for porn, okay, like using it for write me a sexy story about this or that, right? Or to use it for like violent and like that kind of stuff. I've seen a lot of this stuff on the internet because I follow this AI news, and a lot of people are using it to like make it, to try to get them to do stuff that's illegal and things like that, try to be clever around that stuff. Or do you want AI to be trained more with values of authenticity, integrity, and consciousness?
Yeah,
We each
thank you.
literally have that influence. So the more we use it in that direction, the more training data is about that. So
Thank you, George. Perfect conclusion to our conversation. And normally we'd go out into breakouts, but we're kind of coming up towards the end of our 90 minutes. So I want to make sure we really have enough time for the audience to ask questions. So I recommend we just transition straight into an opportunity to ask questions. George, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and reflections. And I'd love to, and it's been super enlightening for me to actually hear you talk about AI today, and the ways that you're using it. I hadn't thought about a lot of that, but I'd love to open it up to the audience here. If anyone would like to ask a question, please go ahead and click on the reactions button and raise your hand. Any questions, reflections, anything you'd like to share, all is welcome here.
yeah.
Siegfried, go ahead.
Yeah, hi.
Siegfried, you just got muted.
You got muted for some reason, yeah.
Mm.
I'm sorry. I may take you out of AI and the
That's fine.
fascination and so I have a question at the very beginning. You posted and emphasized relating to the marketing approach. You are emphasizing to stick on the wants and not on the needs.
Yes.
What for? What makes the difference in your understanding? This is my
Right.
question. Thank you.
Very good. I appreciate it. And Siegfried, can you tell me a little bit about the work you do, or what do you market?
I'm
service
an
do you-
organizational developer. I'm catalyst. I'm in a way bringing small organizations from one state into another state of being. So
I see. Okay. And can we have a little conversation about this if you're interested? Because I would love to use your example if it's appropriate. Basically, we should talk about wants and needs for your product, right? For your service, right? So, for example, and tell me if this is wrong, I'm just going to make this up. What tell me, Siegfried, about a few words about the deeper process you work with that helps the organizations. What is there a name to it, or is there a somehow you can describe what is the process you use?
oh yeah, you are challenging me, but it's fine. I appreciate. My basic hypothesis I'm working on is that we as people and employees and bosses are limiting ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And to bring the people into the awareness that they are limiting themselves, and they are basically intending to overcome and go beyond what they know and what they have produced and what they have discovered and where they are at present. I would describe it as a need for them if they
Yes.
are aware about.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
and
Exactly right.
there the distinction comes in of how do you relate it to your understanding of the wants of them.
Okay, right. So I'm so glad we have this example. So they need to understand this framework about how they're limiting themselves. Okay, that's the deeper need. Now, will they buy that? I don't know. I mean, yes, yes. Okay, so here's the thing. Yes, our
okay.
audience will buy the need we think they have if we educate them enough through content over months or usually years. And then you could say, wow, once you keep educating, why the context of this need? Why does this need arise? What kinds of situations, where does this need arise? What is the foundational theory behind this need? You educate them for months or years through your content, and then they will say, sure, I will buy your needs program, right? But then we say, well, I still need to make money in the shorter term. Well, I would love to work with clients in the shorter term without me having to educate them for years. So then we say, okay, what is the want? So how does this, for in your example, when organizations and employees limit themselves, how does that show up in the world? How does that show up in their life or in the organization? What is the flaring up of that issue? What do the symptoms look like? Or what is the goal they cannot achieve, or the experience they cannot have because they haven't solved that need that you help them with?
They're repeating and staying they are repeating their own patterns of solutions without reflecting whether the underlying hypotheses are still the same as, let's say, for a year ago or something like that.
Fine. But give me maybe you could say there's a specific situation. So for example, maybe the employee, let's just say the employee, I'm just going to use this example. Maybe the employee is having a hard time getting a promotion. Or maybe the organization is having a hard time explaining their value in the market. Okay. Those are very real. Either you could call that a pain point or a goal desire that they say, we need to spend money on this. This is a want. And then Siegfried comes around and says, I understand. Yes, of course. But you need to work at this level. You know, Einstein says you cannot solve the problem with the same level of thinking. You need to work at this level, which then transforms everything, including your ability to communicate your value in the market or to get your promotion or whatever it may be. But the want is the thing they're thinking about constantly.
Well, thank you. What I'm getting just now, while I was listening to you, I realized that the attraction is coming not from the understanding of the past, but the belief, in a way, to believe in, to create future is a worthy possibility.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
there I feel the attraction of, oh, if this is your understanding of to offer something to, or invite people to discover their wants and
Yes.
provide something for them,
Yes.
or with them, maybe even
Yes.
better, with them together,
That's right.
that they can
That's it.
reach their
Yeah.
wants.
The-
I can feel it now. It's more attractive. It's more
oh,
juicy.
good.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for letting us
Yeah.
use your example. And
Thank you
the
for
best,
leading me in. Thank you.
yes,
Oh,
you're welcome. The best marketing is created in concert with the audience that's receiving the marketing. And so if we can do polling of some kind, conversations, research of some kind, and then ultimately, you know, ideally you have several representatives of your audience give you feedback about the draft of your website or draft of your sales page or whatever, draft of the letter, then you're like, oh, I have confirmation that this is meeting my audience where they're at. And eventually, this is how I think about truly effective marketing is compassion or empathy in action. Empathy in action, because we can empathize, because usually we are leaning into our own passion, right? When we talk only about what they need, we're leaning into our passion for our modality, our own peak experience, what we've experienced, and we wish they could experience it, but we're leaning, it's our own passion. Whereas I'm inviting us, yes, our passion's important, but also bring in compassion for where they're at and what language do they use, what pain. Their pain might feel kind of shallow to us, to be honest with you, because we've already solved it at a deeper level, which is why their goal and their pain and their symptom and what they're yearning, what they're paying for, sometimes may feel a little bit shallow to us. But that's where our compassion says, no, I can understand why you are paying for that, or why you are only signing up for those kinds of things. I can understand that, you know, from my compassion. So
and this distinction between what people want and need, I do feel it's so fundamental. It's something we think about all the time. And I love the mantra, sell people what they want, give them what they need. And
yes.
and you know, sometimes those two things are really close together, sometimes they're far apart. I just think it's really helpful to know the difference and to be aware of your audience's different relationship to those things. Because when you can understand that, then that really informs your communication. It makes your communication intelligent, because what they need or what you think they need may not at all be what they want, what they're thinking about. And that's the difference. Is it's one thing is just kind of like what they need, but they may not be thinking about what they need. They're thinking about what they want.
They're
and
not
when you
ready to buy at that level.
And when you understand what they want, what they're actually thinking about in their as lived reality, I think this is the biggest thing I see with heart-centered creators, is that like they live in their own reality rather than the as lived actual reality of the people they're trying to reach. And when you can really get into that reality and understand how that person is thinking, what they want, then you can communicate to them intelligently and meet them where they're at. And that makes a big difference.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks, George. Carol, great to see you here.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for creating this wonderful space. Yeah, George, thank you for what you're sharing. I guess I both feel a sense of excitement. I can definitely see the excitement in you. But also, there are, and also I have some like deep concerns about where are we going. I think I noticed Scott, maybe he already left. He left a comment, says that I fear that AI is bringing us closer and closer to the surface. My interpretation of that is that instead of going deeper to our own awareness and consciousness,
That's right.
AI, the use of AI might end up getting us closer and closer to the superficial level of, what is hot out there. So I'll just give you a concrete example. I also happen to be in the field of organizational development and consulting, and a co-founder of mine used ChatGPT to write some marketing content, and then he didn't even need to tell me. When I look at the copy, I can see the basically the language of these big four consulting companies, the McKinseys in the world, and how are you gonna, it's all about increasing the profit of the organization, or those specific long words, those jargons. And so of course, yeah, I understand we're not gonna, the way you use it is not gonna use it to generate marketing copies. You're still gonna write it. However, I think the more I read that type of stuff, for example, the more I research about, for example, let's say organizational leaders. If I ask ChatGPT to tell me about organizational leaders, I guess I worry that because the training data of these ChatGPT does come from those, McKinsey reports and whatever is mainstream, whatever is circulating on the internet, then my understanding of my target audience is going to be very biased and very much off.
Yeah.
Because in some ways I don't want to serve, like, for example, to go back to the category of housewives that you just said, I don't want to serve the housewives who just want to be more, to look younger, or attract their husband, keep their husband around. Those, a lot of times those are the content that got surfaced on the internet. So then when I ask ChatGPT, they might give me an image of what housewives are like. But then I want to serve the housewives who want to go, deeper in themselves, for example, or expand their awareness. So I guess I worry that even if I use ChatGPT as a way to just inspire me, but what I'm learning is actually not the reality, but it's only the reality that looks on the internet.
Yes.
And then I'm missing a huge population, a huge range of human needs and wants. That's not in the training data. And then I might end up becoming more and more shallow as a marketer, because I'm like, there's the Janets out there. They just want these things.
Totally.
So yeah.
Yeah, no, super. Thank you, Carol, for expressing that so well and giving us these examples. I'm so glad you asked it, because then this allows me to share again how I use it differently and how I teach it differently. Because yes, you're right. When you start taking any other AI course, they're gonna produce the mainstream results and the shallow, sort of like everyone's gonna start sounding like Wikipedia or whatever. Okay. So get this. I always try to be a contrarian and a rebel where it's useful. And this is where it's useful. I look at ChatGPT, what it gives me, and here's the thing. AI is a genius at ideation, but it does not match humans in evaluation of human experiences. AI for ideation, humans for evaluation. Okay. So when I see something ChatGPT comes through, I know that it's opportunity for me to critique and go, this is the mainstream. How can I therefore think differently about this? So that's part one. Part one is it. Thanks goodness you know what's going on, so you can go, oh, good. I can go ahead and say something different now. Part one. Part two is this: the more context you give to ChatGPT or other AI, the better of a job it digs deep and gives you and pulls from the part of the training data that it doesn't usually pull from, because everyone else is at the surface. And so when you say, no, I don't want a housewife who, is like just looking at only beauty stuff and like attracting a husband with, you know, Cosmopolitan magazine tips or whatever. Okay, I want this type of person, or I want this organization to be thinking in this way. Then ChatGPT, oh, okay, so you want this dusty part of our training data we don't usually pull from. Let's go and pull from that and give you that information. Guess what? You're now using it to do the kind of research that the vast majority are not able or just have the awareness to do it. So yes, two things. One is because the surface level stuff, when you first start using it, if you don't learn to have a conversation with it and give it more context, that first level stuff, you should use your critique. And the second level is keep having a conversation, keep directing it in this way or that way. The way a wonderful analogy is ChatGPT is basically an intern. It's an intern that's available to you at all times. And just like interns, they're going to first Google something and they're going to, hey, Carol, I found the report, you know, and you're like, yeah, but it's not, can you go deep? Can you don't just stay at the first page of results. Can you go to like the 5th page of results, or please use this additional keywords to refine your search? And that's ChatGPT is an intern. It'll do it for you if you ask it to. So I hope this is helpful.
Thank you, George. And let's take one more final question from Tina.
Thanks, Tina. Great.
Hello, everyone. Hello, George. George, I just want to say recently I bought a few of your courses, and you
yeah.
wrote me a personal email, and I was so pleased, but not surprised, because that's how cool you are.
And that was me. That wasn't ChatGPT.
I know it was. I know. I felt you. I felt you. And I discovered you through, I've been following Ted Hargrave for many years. And then I recently discovered you through Danny Gardner, and I fell in love with you immediately. So I bought your courses, and I will reply to you. You're on my to-do list. So,
thank you.
yeah. So I don't have so much a question, although I'm asking, I'm sharing because I would love your reflection. It's more of a sort of a philosophical, something I'm reflecting on, and just a comment in this is this idea of like, what is authenticity? And it's almost becoming a term that's like the word spiritual, a little bit diluted. And I'm in Mexico, but I came from San Francisco 5 years ago. So it's a word that we used often in San Francisco, in the Bay Area, right? In these sort of more progressive circles. And I'm curious what you think about. So for example, my experience in the Sutra course, which I'm thoroughly enjoying and loving, getting so much out of, you know, we have this agreement, you know, to be authentic and be ourselves. And at the same time, you know, what I just sort of reflected on recently is, this interesting sort of interplay between, it's easier in some ways to be authentic to thousands of people in an audience than it is to 5 people, because it almost can get to like this fine line of oversharing, especially because time, you know, it's sort of like this. I don't really have a question. It's more like I'm just philosophizing with you. And that authentic actually is quite nuanced, right?
It is.
And so,
I so appreciate you saying that.
you know, and with, you know, in more intimate relationships, like time is of essence, because that helps to build more relationships. Whereas like you can kind of overshare to your Instagram audience, right? Because like,
of course,
it's interesting, right? So I don't know if you have any reflections around.
I appreciate that very much. Yeah. And by the way, did you know I'm moving to Mexico in 3 months?
I saw your comment. I was going to write in my reply.
Literally moving.
I'm going to be
so you can email me back when you reply back. We can talk about that anyway. So authentic. Oh my gosh, this is so good. And by the way, Lorenz and Natasha, just want to be respectful of your time. We have a hard stop at the top of the hour.
We're good for a couple of extra minutes if you are. I want to be respectful of your time. So
right.
We're basically we're flexible.
Okay, and thanks to everybody who's here live. So appreciate seeing you here. So if you could stay with us a few minutes, great. If not, please drop off anytime. It's totally fine, obviously. Okay, so authenticity is a word that I started using years ago because I was positioning myself against, like I said, contrarian to the mainstream marketing that felt so inauthentic to me. It was like trying to get me to do stuff. Anyway, so I said, well, can I be myself? Can I really express from a heart of love and make money doing it? I don't know. Let me experiment. So that started my experimentations. And so here's what I've learned about authenticity. Number one is that I think authenticity is really about touching into our self-expressive power, like the grounded confidence to express oneself, because it's all different for each of us. It looks different. That's why it's authentic. So I think it's really more about grounded confidence, number one. Number two, it's also about it's also about resonance with the values that we hold dear. And the values, like if you think of whatever value, integrity, love, compassion, like when you are expressing or acting from those values, it feels right. And I think the feeling right is part of authenticity, right? And then the third one is authenticity is really about ultimate flexibility, because I think ultimately we are infinitely potential spiritual beings. And so what is really authentic? Ultimately, authentic is everything. We can be anything we want to be, because we are that. But in terms of social media authenticity, right? Like the oversharing on social media, that kind of thing. There's a wonderful phrase. It's like, don't bleed on your audience. Like, it's like we share our pains and our wounds, right? Yes, you need to share your wounds, because especially in the era of AI, where AI doesn't suffer like we do, or we suffer differently, we might say, our sharing of vulnerable sharing of our suffering gives others a refuge and also a language to understand their own suffering. But as long as we're sharing it out of service, like the person who just like, blah, 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 this is a bad day, and oh, I had a horrible life, and this, I don't know if they're actually serving their audience, or they're just making everyone depressed, right? So that's, hopefully that's helpful. Yeah.
Thank you, George. Yeah, and my view on authenticity is very correlated with what I think of as coherence, where what you feel and think is aligned with what you say and do. And so when you're putting stuff out into the world, that there's an alignment there. And I think that very much speaks to the heart of authentic marketing as well, that you're not thinking one thing and saying another to try to get people to do something and extract money or some kind of action out of them. And I think that's pretty much the heart of what we're talking about here.
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. George, thank you for this wide-ranging, super deep conversation that's gone in all sorts of twists. I really appreciate your wisdom and your just the energy and excitement that you've brought to this AI conversation. It's definitely given me a lot of inspiration, a lot of ideas, and now I played with it for a little bit and then I put it aside. So now you've inspired me to bring it back in, but I won't be using it to write anymore emails. I'll share, this. So this is my experience with ChatGPT in terms of generating content, because I did actually have it write not just the bio, but probably 80%, 90% of the email that I sent out to promote this particular event.
Yeah.
And I do find with content that ChatGPT generates, even like all those poems, the resonance isn't there, like just as pure content, right? The resonance, the feeling of like the poem rhymes and it sounds good, but somehow it doesn't have the same, like doesn't touch me in the same way. And my challenge has been, which is why I really appreciated your approach here, is that when I go to ChatGPT and I ask it to generate some content, when I do that first, then I'm kind of like editing ChatGPT based like soulless content.
That's the wrong order, right?
Right. Yeah. Versus really writing it myself and then going to ChatGPT to maybe edit, which I haven't tried yet. And I'm curious to try that, because whenever I've had ChatGPT generate content, it kind of speaks to, I don't know who it was who just shared about like the McKinsey fortune. I think it was maybe Carol, the big five, McKinsey language or whatever. Like it just feels dry.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to try the other way around, where I do what I do, which is I love writing. That's part of who I am. And then maybe see how ChatGPT might help me improve the writing that I've already written.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So it's right on. That's it.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you for being part of this journey. And you can find George at georgecow.com. His stuff is incredible. He's a content machine, heart-centered content machine.
Human machine.
Human machine. Yeah, thank you, George.
Thank you.
Yeah, so much love. And please, maybe just a quick check-in with the audience. Just share a word or two. What's present for you? How are you leaving our space today? blessed, love rules, inspired, supported in creativity, enriched, illuminated, happy, more open and playful with all this information. Quite informative, enriched, heartfelt thanks. All right. Thank you all so much. And please unmute, say goodbye on your way out. And thank you, George. Really appreciate your
Yeah,
time.
thank you,
Thank you
Lawrence.
so
Thank you,
much.
Natasha.
Yeah,
Thanks,
really.
Tina. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
Aloha. Thank you.
Aloha.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Goodbye.
George.
Thanks a
Nice
lot.
catch,
Thanks,
George.
everybody.
Thank you,
Thank
Lawrence.
you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.